brace yourself for the wildest ride of your life. It's the craziest book Chris Akin has ever written, and other things I should not say. Get ready for over 500 pages of pure, unfiltered debauchery. From his military years, Chris Akin spills the shocking stories of sex, partying, violence, and the stuff that's so wild it's probably illegal. You've heard the tales on the Classic Metal Show, but never like this. Don't wait. Get your copy now at chrisakin.net before the censors try to shut it down.
Hey kids, this is John Corabi from the Dead Daisies, and you, my friends, are watching CMS TV. Turn it up.
Chris Akin Presents, and I, of course, am Chris Akin, and today on the show, it's one of my favorite guys out there. As you guys are well aware, I have said many times, if this guy read a phone book, I'd buy him different addresses to read. I am a huge fan of Mr. John Corabi. Obviously, I wrote the book on his Motley Crue record. I am a fan of the Dead Daisies. I am a fan of Union. I am a fan of his solo work, and I am certainly a fan of this new release from the Dead Daisies, Light 'Em Up. It is fantastic. Out on September 6th, and here he is, John Corabi. John, how are you, man?
That's a hell of an introduction, buddy. I don't know if I'm going to be able to live up to it. But...
John, I'm going to tell you what. I'll answer that for you. You have lived up to it here. I'm going to make a statement that's going to sound like an ass kiss because I'm talking to you. It's not. It's just the truth. This release, Light 'Em Up, best thing you personally have ever performed on. I love this thing, man. It is so good.
That's cool, buddy. Thank you. Your mouth to God's ears. So,
well, let's talk about it, man. Obviously, this is a weird time for you, I guess. Coming back into a band. That's. I don't imagine that that's super easy to do. So, tell me about, how you come back into the Dead Daisies, and was there any weirdness of it, or was it right back in the pocket, or how did it go?
No, it was, honestly, I hate to, it was pretty easy. Because I didn't leave on bad terms.
Sure.
The whole time from January 2019, it's kind of when I departed. But I was in constant contact with all of the guys, including management, the whole time.
Okay.
So there was no bad blood. Like, we were sending each other joke memes, and I played some shows down in Australia. I got in touch with David Lowy and our manager David Edwards, our sound guy Tommy. They all live down there. I invited him to the shows, and even at one point, I can't remember. I think it was on the Holy Ground record, when they had Glenn got sick right before they were going to tour. They were going to rehearse with Glenn, but it was supposed to be like longer rehearsals, and Glenn couldn't make it. He was sick. So they called me up, and I just went up to New York, and I just kind of rehearsed with them for, a week or 10 days, just to kind of do the pre-rehearsal rehearsal.
Right.
And just kind of help them, blow the dust off of a bunch of songs. So it was never a bad thing. So they called me up. They said, Glenn's going back to do his Deep Purple stuff. He's going back to do Black Country Communion. Would you want to come back? And I was like, yeah, okay. So my biggest concern was, how were the fans going to react after having Glenn Hughes? I mean, Hall of Fame, voice of rock, legendary Glenn Hughes.
Sure.
Would the fans feel like they were taking a step backwards or a step down, whatever? And to be honest with you, like, from the first show that I did with them, even prior, we did some videos of us at rehearsals, and the response has been overwhelmingly positive, and everybody's like, I'm so happy you're back. So it's been great getting back in and doing this stuff. It's like I just slid right back into where I was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, as a fan and as somebody that, talks to a lot of people about what you do, are you aware that the fans were not happy when you left? I mean, of course, everybody loves Glenn Hughes, but anything Glenn Hughes is in sounds like Glenn Hughes. You guys were really, at the time that you left Dead Daisies, you guys were right on the cusp, it felt like, of breaking into that next level as a band, and it almost felt like a kind of a start over for fans. Were you aware of that? And it sounds like you are now, but
I honestly, like, I knew they got Glenn, but I didn't really, I was in contact with everybody, but it wasn't like I was on their Facebook page every day to see what was going on. You know what I mean? Right. I was kind of doing my own thing. And again, like, for those that don't know, me leaving was a strictly personal thing. If anybody followed my career, they knew prior to me joining the Daisies, I had a solo band with my son, Ian.
Right.
And I had just gotten married as well in August to my wife. And literally like 4 months later, the Daisies called, asked me to do this thing in Cuba. Then they asked me to do a record. And initially it was like, okay, well, we're going to use you 6 months, and then you got the rest of the year to do what you want. And I was like, okay, well, great. I can do this. Well, it got to the point, I don't know why. I'm not trying to take credit for anything, but we did Revolucion, and the band's trajectory just started taking off.
Right.
And we started doing huge festivals and opening for Kiss and Whitesnake, and and we were busy just constantly. So then like 2017, 18, I got my son in one ear going, Dad, you suck. I moved to Nashville to be in your band.
Right.
And now you're in another band and you're never home. And then my wife, like, I'd come home from a tour and I'd walk in the door and she'd be standing there with a gun going, I don't recognize you. Are you, you know what I mean? So I go, I think I need to take some time here, hang out with my family. 2019, I worked, but I did it at my own pace. I worked a lot. Got to do some shows with my kid. And then obviously, who saw COVID coming?
Right.
2020 was the year of the year of the cough. So we're just like, all right. Then it was like, I kind of assumed, having a little too much faith in science, I went, fuck it, they'll have it knocked out in like 3 weeks. And it was like, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. It was crazy, but I was, like I said, I was in contact with everybody, but it was kind of a personal thing for me. I just wanted to hang out with my kid and my wife and just kind of work at my own pace, which I did.
Sure.
But I didn't really pay much mind to what was going on in the Daisies at the time. You know what I mean? So I wasn't looking at comments. I still don't.
Sure.
I try not to, because somebody's going to say something that'll piss me off. And my first reaction is to tell them to go fuck themselves. But I'm like, I'm just, you know what? Best you don't read the comments.
Right. Certainly. Well, and what is it comfortable? I get, and comfortable might be the wrong word, but is it comfortable jumping back into more of a machine like the Dead Daisies? Because I saw one of those shows that you did with Ian here in Cleveland. And they were relaxed, and you guys were hanging out and having drinks with the fans, and I mean, it was a very relaxed atmosphere. And then obviously the Daisies is much more of a machine. It's much more of a rigid thing. Is that comfortable for you or?
Yeah, it don't matter. I mean, it's like it's like training for a boxing ring. Like you kind of work. Like right now, I know what we're getting ready to do in the UK. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of preparing for it. I'm working out, I'm doing my thing. And, so once you jump in with the Daisies, you've got plenty of time to figure out what's going to happen. The thing with when I was doing the thing with Ian, you got to remember too, we were just kind of going out and, we were doing like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday home.
Right.
I mean, just weekends. So it was a little more lax, you know what I mean? And you sit there and you go, okay, we played tonight. Where's the next gig? Oh, it's 110 miles away. You know what I mean? So
right.
Yeah, we can leave the hotel tomorrow at, noon.
Right.
It's a little bit more, a little more chill. Where with the Daisies, it's like, oh, you're playing London. Tomorrow you're playing in Paris. You know what I mean? So
right.
It's a little different, but it's not that. Like I said, I already know our schedule for October, and I've already got our schedule for November.
Right.
So mentally, I'm ahead of the game.
Right on. Well, dude, let's dig into the record, man. Obviously, for most people have not heard it yet. I've heard the whole thing. It's very straight ahead, very 1975 Aerosmith-like, for lack of a better comparison. I mean, it's definitely got that, just a crunch to it. And that's perfect for you. I'm curious, how much input did you have in the writing of it? Did you guys write together, or was it already written when you came back, or what?
No, there was. Actually 3 songs, because we always do a cover on the record. Marty, it was so weird. Like, we were listening to a bunch of ideas, and Marty just happened to play us the song Times Are Changing. And we're like, fuck, dude, we love that. That's killer. So we said, all right. And then Marty and I had written the ballad. I had that. Marty and I had already written that.
Right.
But historically, the Daisies, usually we don't have finished ideas. We just put a bunch of riffs into a Dropbox or whatever, and then we get together in a room. We set up all the gear, drums, bass, guitar, like everything's all set up. Everybody's got their spot. We put the headphones on, we get a good mix, and then we start tearing into shit. And you have 4 or 5 guys all throwing ideas into the stew. And we kind of develop everything together.
Right. Well, it's definitely working.
Yeah. I mean, even from the first, and it's fast. It's crazy. I've never been in a band that literally writes and records music faster than the Daisies. Every record we've ever done that I've been involved with has been done in less than a month. Yeah, this one was maybe 19 days.
Oh, wow. That is fast.
Yeah, so it's, but it's everybody putting ideas in. There's no ego. Like if I have a lyric moment where I can't think of anything, I'm not afraid to ask the other guys for help, or Marty. Doug Aldridge, as great as he is on guitar, he always asks me to come and sit in the studio with him when he's doing his guitar solos. I may hear something, or he may overthink something, and I'll go, no, dude, that riff was fucking amazing. Let it go. Pardon my French. Sorry. There's an edit. But so there's no egos. We just sit in a room together. We jam, we develop, we write, and it's fast.
Right. Well, it definitely is excellent too. I want to ask you about Doug as well. And it sounds like you might have knowledge on this. He has changed his style and his sound so much, now, when you consider the White Snake and the Dio days for him, he's not playing anything like that anymore. I mean, he's playing real rootsy, bluesy, which he really wasn't doing, maybe a little in White Snake, but certainly not in the Dio days. What changed with him? Is it just playing to what you guys are creating, or did he make a conscious effort to change?
He's playing for the song.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, if you listen to Love That'll Never Be, and again, like, there may be times with him where he goes, man, I'm not here. Like, I don't have anything. And Marty may say, play some slide, like, Dickie Betts, or play some, or like Jimmy Page, or, Marty may suggest something. I might, David might. But Doug, look, Doug's a songwriter as well. So, if he plays something that's a little more aggressive, his playing's going to be a little more aggressive. If he plays something that's a little more subdued, his playing's going to be a little more subdued. So it's called playing for the song. Right. You know what I mean? And it is funny. Like I sit there earlier and I go, yeah, I don't read the comments, but a lot of people have commented that they're like, I love what he's doing on this record. Mm-hmm. Tones and just some of the different stuff that he's done. And, what, I can't wait for everybody to hear it, because when we did this record, we did some of the record here in Nashville, and we did some of the record in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, at Fame Studios. And while we were doing this, we actually did 2 albums. Oh. So we did Light 'Em Up, all new original stuff, but we also recorded a blues record.
Okay.
And if you think Doug's playing is like, you should hear him on this blues record. It's out of control. Nice. It's unbelievable.
Will we hear him on this record? Is that coming soon? Is that that exclusive?
No. I don't know an exact date, but it'll probably be next year.
Okay.
But we were just on a roll, and we did 2 albums this year in February. I think it was February or March. I don't know, whenever we recorded this stuff. But yeah, Doug's playing is just insane.
Right. I agree.
But he dug into the, the Jeff Becks and the Jimmy Pages and the Stevie Ray Vaughns. And that's the thing. Doug plays for the song.
Sure.
And I think his playing on this record is amazing.
I agree. I definitely agree. Well, John, let's talk about a song or two on the record itself. I always try to start with what is my favorite song. For me on this, it's Take a Long Line. Great tune. Sort of got that AC/DC riff thing going on to it. Just a cool song, man. Tell me about that song.
Okay, so I told you, historically, we do a cover.
Yeah.
That song is a cover of a band from Australia called the Angels.
Okay.
Which, it's funny, none of us heard the song before.
Sure.
And David brought it to the band because David used to be in the Angels.
Right.
And so he played us this track, and we're like, oh, this is really cool. We had to bump the key up, turn it up a little bit so that I could use that grit in my voice, whatever. And I thought the lyrics were great. It was a bitch to sing because the words it's like they're just coming out rapid fire. But I tried to approach it without sounding redundant, like Steven Tyler would do, let the music do the talking.
Right.
But it's funny. Now, we recorded the song, we listened to it, we tried to make it a little heavier than the original, and never heard the song before. And then as soon as we put it to bed, I literally heard that song on 3 different movies in the last month or two.
Nice.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm just sitting there like, what the... I never heard this song until we recorded it. Like now it's everywhere. But we played it live, and I was surprised. A lot of fans kind of knew the chorus. They, the words, like I said, are rapid fire. But as soon as that chorus comes in, everybody starts jumping in. It's pretty awesome. I love that.
Yeah, it's a great tune, man. Then obviously the title track, is a fantastic tune. I mean, it's a great opener for the record too. It really just lures you in and says, all right, we're in for a rock and ride here. Why was that song chosen as the first song as well as the album title? Is it just the one you guys like the best? Or?
It just, like our manager's always with us. He was sitting there listening to everything develop. And, went in, sang the track, and he was just sitting there going, fuck, dude, that song's amazing. Like, I love it. I love the energy. It's like a kick in the teeth. And you know what? The title's awesome, too.
Yeah.
So he goes, I think that could be the title track. So we're like, all right, okay, awesome. I kid around with him all the time, and I go, yeah, dude, whatever. That's above my pay grade. But, he just heard the song develop, and he was like, yeah, I think that could be a really strong candidate for the first song in the set and the title of the album. So.
Right on. Well, dude, obviously, touring is the bread and butter. I know you have stuff coming up. Tell us about maybe the next 12 months, what it looks like for the Dead Daisies.
Well, I did get promoted to night manager at the 7-Eleven, so I do have that to fall back on. But now we're actually right now we're just we're getting ready, kind of doing our own thing at home, listening to the songs again, and we're flying over to England in September 1st. We're going to rehearse for a couple days, and then we do all of the UK. Then we have a few weeks off again, and then we head to Europe on November 1st. So we're going to, obviously touring and promoting the new record. And, next year, I don't know yet. We haven't gotten any schedule, but I know they're already they're already starting to put together some shows for next year as well. So
right on, man. Well, good stuff as always, my friend. Dude, where is the best place, if you know? I know a lot of you guys don't know, but where's the best place these days to keep up with the band and you and tour dates and merch and all that stuff?
Well, in regards to the Dead Daisies, anything and anything Daisies, go to thedeaddaisies.com.
Okay.
Don't forget the W's in the front. And then anybody wants to know anything about yours truly, they can go to John Corabi. I believe it's johncorabi.com.
Okay. Well, that's easy enough. And just one last question, has nothing to do with the Dead Daisies. It has something to do just with you. Why is your acoustic record not available on any of the streaming sites?
The license just ran out. I just retained, I guess you would call, ownership of that record. So that's after I get off this phone call later today, I need to call my manager and figure out how to get it back onto Spotify and all those sites, whatever. So I got to do that. And then I've actually contacted some companies about doing another run of vinyl and CDs and all that. Yeah, blah, 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 whatever.
Right.
You know,
right.
But yeah, it's where like record companies, they'll license shit for 5 years or 10 years or whatever it is. And then it expires, and then it's up to yours truly to get off his ass. And
right.
Yeah, I didn't have that day marked in my calendar, and it came and went. It's like, everybody's been writing to me like, hey dude, why's so I called my manager and I go, what happened? Like, the record fell off of all the streaming sites. And he goes, you need to redo it again, dumbass. You got your masters back. So I'm like, awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I need it back. I will say that I do have it. I do have the CD, but I really don't have a player anymore. And I've said this to you before, but Crash is my favorite song you've ever done. So I need to have that handy so I can listen to it here and there.
I will get on that ASAP.
There we go. Perfect. All right, man. Well, one more time, Dead Daisies, light them up, out on September the 6th. Touring getting ready to start. So whenever they come to your country or your city, make sure you're out there. And John, as always, man, totally fun checking in once again on Chris Akin Presents.
You too, brother. Good to see you.
All right.
It's the album that changed everything, Metallica's Black Album. In Cause and Effect, Metallica, author Chris Akin takes you back to the lead-up, the release, and the shockwaves that followed. Relive the moment that divided fans, reshaped heavy metal, and turned commercial radio on its ear. With insider stories and personal memories from rock critic and radio personality Chris Akin, this book is a backstage pass to one of rock's most iconic moments. Get your copy now at chrisakin.net or on Amazon. Don't miss out on this epic journey through heavy metal history.